I'm Garet.
I'm Katie, and this is episode 71 woof of the Bars Ankle High. Oh, I forgot to tell you. We don't have any housekeeping that I know of,
Okay.
but I did the other day type into Chat GPT
Oh no.
what a good tagline for our podcast would be.
Yeah.
And it said, exploring life's low bars with wit and wisdom. Honestly, I was like, I'm not mad.
You know what? I fucking rage about AI all the time, but I am not mad about that. I kind
Right?
of love it. I kind of love it.
So anyway, welcome to the Bars Ankle High, where we explore life's low bars with wit and wisdom.
It's true. And bad analogies. Like
Hmm.
organs being like chewed gum.
Yeah, that's what they all look like. Um, yeah. How was your Thanksgiving? Since that's the time and space that we're recording this.
It was really good. We went out of town and met some friends that live pretty far away, about halfway, and had all our kids just run 'em wild in an Airbnb and
And now you have
hardly went out,
cooties.
and I still got sick.
Yeah.
And one of the kids got sick, so I don't know if there was, like, one night we went to, like, a tree lighting, we were around other people, so I wonder if
Mm.
that's where we picked up, it's just a nasty head cold, but,
Ugh, that's
man,
rough.
it just knocks you out, you're just tired and, the morning is always the worst, so I slept so much, and I think the baby has a touch of it too, so we pretty much were just a cuddle puddle all day on the couch, and I'm so glad I got this cold on maternity leave.
Yeah, for
From
sure.
work and not, having to really function today.
Yeah, like you didn't have to put on clothes or
Nope, I'm
answer
still in the same
actual
pajamas I've
questions.
been in since last night, so
Well, I mean, I wore clothes to work today, like grown-up clothes, but
that's
I
good.
immediately got home and put on pajamas, so,
Yeah.
I do
How was
want
your
you to
Thanksgiving?
know
Oh,
my Thanksgiving was good. We spent it with my family, and it's the same group that we spent last Thanksgiving with, so it's like a nice little routine, but then we also decided that we still wanted leftovers, and
oh, yeah.
so
Yep.
yesterday, Sunday, we made a whole Thanksgiving I made a whole Thanksgiving dinner for us. But it
Cute.
only took like 2 hours. It really like of actual like work. Like the oven cooked for longer than 2 hours, but I just had to put the turkey in there.
That's
Um
not bad.
yeah, so it was kind of that thing where I was like, I don't know why we don't do this more often. Like I've got soup stock and like we've
Mhm.
got leftovers all week and I got egg roll wrappers because we want to make those like leftover egg rolls
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with some of our fixins and stuff. And so and it honestly PK got mad at me because he just like hand smashes his potatoes when he has mashed potatoes and I
Mhm,
whip them with a hand
mhm.
mixer. Um and he doesn't remove the skins from his potatoes because he's makes them the German way.
I
And I
also
sent
don't remove
him
the skins. We had a whole debate about this at our Thanksgiving also, so
I I'll eat the skin on a potato if it's a baked potato. I just think that if I'm gonna have mashed potatoes, I want them to be like silky and yummy. And so
yeah.
I
Every and
sent
every
him
that's, like, totally, like, everybody it's like pulp and orange juice.
yeah,
Everybody has their own preference.
like I'll still eat it. It's just I like my way better.
I'm not as
And
picky about it.
but I saw like a meme or something on Instagram that said, "Do you take your mashed potatoes circumcised or uncircumcised?" And he got really mad at me.
That's very funny.
But I made uncircumcised potatoes and or no, I made circumcised potatoes.
You're right, because it had no
Yeah,
skins.
unskinned. Um,
No foreskins on your potatoes.
no foreskins on my potatoes.
Not even 3 or 2 skins.
No.
That's good
Um,
for you.
nice joke. I liked it.
Thank you.
But they came out really good and he was like, "These potatoes are really good." And I was like, "See? If you just put them." But also my thing is like, I'm not going to waste the arm pressure or like strength hand mashing 5 pounds of fucking potatoes when I have a stand mixer that can just
Oh,
do
yeah.
it. Like, that's
Um,
just silly to me.
So I
Um,
normally am like a from scratch person for Thanksgiving. Like I would say like I prefer to make stuff from scratch generally, but Thanksgiving for sure. I every year buy Bob Evans mashed potatoes
I remember
because
you
they're
told me
so
that,
good.
I was blown away.
I know. It's like I'm not like mashed potatoes are not my favorite part of Thanksgiving. Like I love sweet potatoes. And I love having so like Thanksgiving mashed potatoes like like I'll have them, but they're not like my favorite. Bob Evans mashed potatoes are fucking delicious.
They're yummy.
And for leftover potatoes, I took the mashed potato and I put it like in a little ball and I rolled it in breadcrumbs and a little bit of Parmesan and I just cooked it in a pan. So it
Mhm.
was like a little
It's like a
potato
arancini potato.
meatball. It was
Mm.
and it got like crispy on the outside. Oh, it was so good. Highly
I
recommend.
feel like that was like a Italian pierogi that you made.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. We're like, it's almost like a pierogi, but no, like no dough on the outside. But man, it was so good. It was
Mm.
so delicious. Highly recommend. If you have
Yeah,
leftover
I'm really
tooties.
pumped for our egg roll leftovers. I don't know if we'll do that tonight or maybe tomorrow night, but cuz tonight, which is what I was going to say before I distracted myself.
Love it.
Um I'm pretty annoyed that we have to record because our new Christmas tree got delivered today. And
Ooh.
it's like it's a fake tree and I really really wanted a real tree and I prefer real trees. I like the smell of them. That's really
Mm,
the only reason.
mhm.
But PK never set up a tree when he was living alone, so his two animals are not used to having a Christmas tree.
Oh.
And the more I thought about trying to get down on the floor and water this fucking tree every day with a 50-pound lab pit mix who is constantly in my business even when I'm not doing something suspicious on the floor. Like
It's always suspicious.
yeah. So I just thought like that's going to be such a motherfucking hassle and we have radiators which like isn't the end of the world but I don't want
That
to have a
dries them
dried
out.
out tree next to the
Yeah.
radiator. Yeah. So I
We
was
did
like,
that one year, it
okay.
was too close and woo-wee, it was a mess.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, like, between I'm already cleaning up 4 animals worth of fur,
Yep.
um, and then so anyway, I did all this research and I ordered it was like an early Black Friday deal, so I ordered a tree off of Amazon, and, well, I was, like, looking at the shipping information, and, like, one of the reviews was, like, the box that it comes in is huge, but it's pre-lit, which is the other, like,
Oh, that's
selling
the
point of
best.
it,
Yeah.
but it was, like, 50% off, so I got this thing for, like, $200. So it's, like, a nice fucking tree,
Right.
and it's the first time that I've spent, like, real money on a
Mhm.
artificial tree, like, I've had artificial trees before, but I usually get the ones that are, like, $50 at Target,
Mhm.
and I put string lights on them. So anyway, one of the reviews was like, "The box is huge and it's really heavy, but like blah blah blah, it's sturdy and da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And I see like on our Ring camera today the delivery notification, like someone's at your front door,
And
and
getting
this
flipped
fucking
off by the UPS guy.
the UPS guy, like, there's clearly two handles on the top of the box, like built
Mhm.
into the cardboard, and so he's carrying it by both handles. And I had looked at like the shipment information, and it had said that it was, a 75-pound box. And so
Shit.
the thing is, it turns out I don't know what 75 pounds weighs like,
Mhm.
or like or how what that weight feels like. And like I had
Yep.
mentioned it to PK and he was like, "Oh, that's fine. Like we lifted stuff like that all the time at the warehouse," which I was like, "That's a lot. Like that's fucking crazy." And then
Yeah.
I hauled this thing in through the front door by myself just now. I don't know how that UPS man didn't just die, and I don't know how PK didn't just, like, die all the time, lifting that at work,
Yeah, that's heavy.
and yeah, it's real heavy, but I did open the box, and it looks really good. So, I'm really excited to put the tree up because 'cause I'm gonna put it up, and then I'm gonna wait to put ornaments on it so that mostly PK's cat can get used to the idea of there being a fucking tree in the
Oh, that's a
house.
good idea. I think we're
So
gonna cut one down this year.
Oh, really?
We've never done that, but I thought it would be, like, a fun tradition with the baby, like, every year, go and cut down a tree.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and plus it's then gonna last, usually I get rid of it by New Year's Day because I have needles everywhere. So it's like,
They
oh, if
do
we cut
last
one
way
down.
longer when you cut it yourself,
Mhm.
and the smell is much better.
Oh, the smell. Although those
Um,
Grove candles, Grove, sponsor us because we love those balsam fir candles.
so good. I ordered 3 of them and Patrick was like, "Why do you have so many candles?" And I was like, "'Cause this is the only time of year I can get them and they smell right."
And they're way cheaper through Target, by the way.
Oh,
Ordered them
yeah?
through Target and they were $10.
Oh. Did
They
they
were
come
like
in the pretty
17 through Grove.
holder?
Yeah. Well, that's
Fuck,
the
they
thing.
didn't
I
have the pretty
only
holder online. I was so
Yep.
pissed.
Yep.
Oh, I'm pissed.
I wound up
Fucking
looking on
Grove, let's
Target.
get it together.
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh, I'm only ordering this if I get the pretty fluted holder thing, glass
I
thing."
ordered it anyway because I have stinky cats. But, yeah, the fluted one, I have my empty one holding some trash right here,
Nice. Trinkets.
on my desk.
Trinkets!
And then my regular one that's lit.
Yeah, I personally do not really like Christmassy candles. I don't typically like, um, like, greenery candles. Those are
Mhm.
so nice. They're so
Yeah.
good.
I have their lavender one too, which I also really like. It's,
Also a
like,
nice one.
just enough,
All
and
of them.
yeah. Yeah, it
And I'm
doesn't
not
give
big
me a
on scented
headache,
candles.
and, especially, like, I'll have one on my desk, either, like, I'm researching or we're recording, and, it's very close to my head,
Mhm.
um, and it still doesn't give me a headache. So, yeah, Grove, sponsor us, because 'cause we're cute and we like your stuff.
I love your stuff. It's all I use to clean with now.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of their shit. I love their glass cleaner, actually. It works way better than
Yeah.
Windex.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Anyway, that's enough free advertisement for a company that doesn't sponsor us.
That's true. What are we talking about today, Katie?
Well, I thought it was fitting that I complained about my Christmas tree because this episode comes out on the winter solstice,
Oh, I love the winter solstice
which is so funny to me that you love it so much and you hate the darkness.
because I know when I get to the winter solstice, that means we're going to start gaining light instead of losing it.
Yeah. I do wish that the winter solstice, like our weather, and I guess it falls kind of close to New Year's, but like I wish that the weather corresponded with being halfway through winter when the solstice happened, because I feel
Yeah,
like the way that it like I feel like we're on like a weird delay, but in any event. Um
agreed.
so I thought it would be interesting to talk a little bit about different solstice activities throughout history, partly because uh I know that we've talked about it before, but I'm going to Ireland and a whole bunch of other places in Europe next year, but one of the places that I really want to go that I haven't been able to go yet, is Newgrange, which do you know what that is? Have you been?
No.
Okay. It's a giant, basically funerary complex. It takes up like an acre of land, and it's Newgrange and 2 other sites near it are a World Heritage Site.
Where is it?
So, it's in Ireland, in Newgrange.
Hmm. Oh, fuck. Oh. Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah. So, but it's similar to like the Nazca lines in South America. It's similar to the Great Pyramids in Giza. It's similar to the Step Pyramids and the funerary complexes in Central America. Um, in that it is an enormous megalithic structure. Newgrange in particular, it looks like a mound. So like there's grass on top of it, but there's these like stone walls that surround it and it's this giant oval. And I was always interested by it because well, I was a medieval and pre-modern history major. But
Oh,
they
it looks like a big lump.
yes. And they started excavating it in I think like the 50s. And it wasn't until the 60s or 70s that they realized that it wasn't just a tomb, which is what they thought it was.
Mhm.
But that it was also likely an altar and, like, religious ceremony space.
Is this like one of those things like the Mayans had where, they used it almost like a calendar so that they knew exactly like
No.
something lines up on this day and then the light goes through and does this whole
Well,
no?
that is why I'm talking about it, because it wasn't until the 1960s that modern archaeologists discovered that there's a window effectively through this whole complex that or through this structure that lights up the entire internal chamber only on the winter solstice.
That's so cool.
And
That's very cool.
so it's in the episode, the show notes for today, but there's a there's plenty of YouTube videos where they actually, like, show it, and they show the sunrise, and, they show it there's, like, a lottery every year, it's free to enter, you can enter the lottery if you want to be one of the people that's actually inside the structure when that happens,
That's so cool.
and, yeah, so it's pretty neat, and so they lined it up, and basically, they lined it up, but rewind for a minute. So it was built
Okay.
about 5,000 years ago, meaning that Cleopatra is closer in time to us than when this structure was built.
Oh, shit. How
Yeah.
old is it in comparison to, like, Stonehenge?
They think it's about the same age.
Okay.
It's about the same age as the Great Pyramids in Giza, which were built about 2,800 to 2,500 BCE.
Okay.
This was built about 3,000 BCE. It was
Wow.
built during the Stone Age, meaning that they did not have bronze tools to cut the stone. Um,
Oh, yeah, and that's a stone wall all the way around it.
mhm.
I'm looking at pictures of it while you're
Yeah. So they found when it was first
wow.
excavated, they believed it was strictly a tomb and perhaps for like a leader or a king or whatever, um, because there were bones and ashes found inside. And so it made sense that it would just be a giant tomb. Um, because again, the Great Pyramids in Giza were giant tombs, but it wasn't until the 1960s that they happened to be there the morning of the winter solstice and we're like, "Oh shit, it lines up, like, that's interesting." And there's all of these they're called megalithic carvings and, on the outs on all of the stones that surround this, and they're kind of swirly, so
Yeah,
it's
they're really
believed that
pretty.
it's built by the Druids, which um we don't have written records from the Druids. So what we know about them is stuff that we can excavate and kind of piece together, and then what has potentially managed to survive until now just through, like, oral traditions.
The designs are
So
really beautiful on the inside. I'm, like, clicking through all these different pictures. It's amazing.
yeah, and, I think one of the coolest things about it is that for the past 5,000 years, that tomb has been completely waterproof. So
What?
isn't that nuts?
That's crazy.
So it's only during the winter solstice and the days immediately surrounding the solstice that the sun illuminates the inner chamber. Um, Meaning that any other time they would only ancient peoples, even people today, would only have been able to see anything inside that structure using torches. Because it is completely blackened out otherwise. Um, so it's 85 meters or 279 feet in diameter, 13 meters or 43 feet tall, so 4 stories tall, um, and takes up about 1 full acre of land. Inside, there's a 19-meter long passage, that opens up into a cruciform, which is cross-shaped but three-way, cruciform inner chamber with a corbelled roof. Um, so again, this was in the Stone Age, and it's called the Stone Age because the people living at the time had tools made of stone. So, just wild that they got
It's
this
called the
done.
Stone Age because people were always stoned.
That's why they had all that groovy artwork on the outside.
Like, "You're never gonna believe it, man."
They also had these ancient black lights, and it was whack.
I mean,
They're little dancing mushroom designs.
yeah, there's the Grateful Dead bears on the top
Mhm.
of the thing,
Yeah.
the top of the lump.
Yeah, actually, they started building it when, that most recent riff from the Fish song was first being written.
Ugh, God.
Um, so because of the alignment of this, they found, they think it was a temple. Um, and there's also 97 large stones that surround the compound, many of which are also decorated with the megalithic art. So the large stones, again, are like the ones from Stonehenge, that some of them also, they've they're not totally sure. There's like an argument among archaeologists because the way that the stones were found, it's not clear if the design was on the underside of the stone and it was intended to be on the underside of the stone, or if, like, through time this rock just like fell over, so it looks like they decorated the bottom of a stone that, like, is only on the earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um,
So
does it
potentially they
also
decorated things that humans would never see again.
yeah. Does it also light up during the summer solstice?
No.
Huh.
um So the winter solstice always occurs between December 20th and 23rd. And then 3 days later, between the 23rd and 26th, it's possible to see along the horizon that the sun is rising closer to the east, and you can see that with the naked eye, meaning that ancient people were also able to, like, notice that and measure it and go from there. So, thus, we have this pagan winter tradition, that lined up conveniently enough across all pagan religions and was easy enough to co-opt by the Vatican for Christmas. So the Druids called the solstice festival Alban Arthur. Some Druid orders think that the name means light of the hero king, King Arthur Pendragon, which is like of Sword in the Stone fame,
Uh-huh.
who is symbolically reborn as the sun child at the time of the solstice. Other Druidic orders believe the name Alban Arthur means light belonging to the star constellation Great Bear. Arthur, or Art, is the Gaelic word for bear,
Mhm.
according to one source I found. So, like, I don't know, if you disagree, don't yell at me. Um, but either way, the solstice is the longest night and the shortest day of the year, and was seen pretty much across cultures, especially in Europe, as the rebirth of the sun.
Yeah, it's
So
like the
fun.
coming back of the light because
Yes,
the days will start to get longer again.
right. So on date and time, or timeanddate.com, you can look up the sunrise and sunset for any location on Earth, and if you click on the specific date, it'll actually, like, show you the path of the sun across the horizon and,
Oh,
like, how
cool.
far up it comes,
Mhm.
which is pretty neat. It doesn't really rise very far over the horizon. Uh, I just typed in Dublin because it was an easier landmark. On this December 21st, the sun will rise. Do you wanna guess what time it'll rise?
8 AM.
Later.
No. I don't even know if I wanna know, it's just gonna make me sad.
At 8:38 AM, the sun rises in
Ooh.
Dublin, and it sets at 4:07 PM.
Oh! Oh my
But
god.
oh, yeah, it's bad. In on the summer equinox, on June 21st, the sun rises at 4:56 AM
Woo.
and sets at 9:56 PM.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
so late.
It's so long.
I would need blackout curtains, though. Pre 5 AM,
Yeah.
eat a whole bag of dicks, Mr. Sun. Um, I also found a source that discussed a practice in Ireland that takes place on St. Stephen's Day, which is like in Canada, it's Boxing Day or just the day after Christmas, where, quote, wren boys with blackened faces carrying a pole with a dead bird pierced at the top tramped from house to house. Today, the custom sometimes sees children caroling through the neighborhood to raise money for charity. So, if any of our listeners are in Ireland and want to confirm for me what the the dead bird pole tradition is in your town, I would appreciate it. Because I also don't know what a wren boy is. I mean, it's spelt like WREN.
Maybe that's why the face is painted. Looks like black.
I'm hoping that it's to look like a bird and not to be horrific.
W- That sounds mysteriously like Krampus.
Mhm. And that brings me to my next tradition, um, called Mah-ree Lloyd, uh, which is a Welsh pastime, and it will put all of your cursed pickled children to shame, I think.
Oh my god, the pickled kids. Oh, at the butchers. God, I forgot about that. Saint Nick and the
Um,
cursed pickle. How could I forget?
I don't know how, frankly. Also, have
Yeah.
you watched Violent Night? It came out last
No.
year.
Is that the one with the guy from Stranger Things?
Yeah,
No, that's not my
you
jam.
should. It was funny.
Really?
I think you'd like it. Yeah, like, it was it was very sweet, extreme it was very gory, like, very, like, "Wow, that's violent," but, like it's called Violent Night, but it was, like, kind of campy and funny, like, there was
Hmm.
nothing about it like it's kind of like if Home Alone had blood, basically. Like
Well,
there's, like, hijinks and booby traps and all that, but it was very good. We watched it I think it's on Prime.
huh. No, I have
Um,
not seen that.
yeah, I would watch it again. I liked it. Anyway, Mary Lloyd, is a Welsh pastime. It's spelled Marilwyd, and I YouTubed how to say it. So
I I had we have it's not BritBox. We have BritBox. And there was a show that was like really recommended, so we started watching it. And I watch a lot of foreign language shows, but I wasn't expecting a show on BritBox to not be in English. And I had to Google it, and it was in Welsh. And those names are really fucking something. There's a lot of W's and Y's. They're
they
very
love a good
long.
consonant. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, this is wow. Wow.
Have you I only looked this up because it was featured in The Crown, but it was when Prince Charles went to Wales and had to, like, give a speech in Welsh, and,
Oh
like,
no.
he was, like, freaking the fuck out that he would say it wrong and, like, he wasn't accepted as the Prince of Wales because blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
imperialism and whatnot, and, I looked up the actual, like, recording of his speech of this, and I mean, bless all of you that speak Welsh because that is I just can't even delineate the difference between the words. Like, in
Nope.
Spanish, I can hear the difference between the words if I'm, like, listening and paying attention. It's all just one huge word to me when I listen to Welsh. So, anyway.
Do you remember when Trump went, I don't remember if he was going to the UK. Ultimately, he wound up saying he was meeting with the Prince of Wales and he spelled it like a whale.
Yes.
And it was
Ooh.
one of my favorite moments of his shit ass presidency
Yes. That was a good day.
because it was just so stupid.
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah, Welsh is a crazy language.
Mhm. It is. And, so Maori Lloyd it translates to gray mare and involves the use of a hobby horse, which for, like, people today is, like, the stick with, like, the stuffed horse head on the front, and you, like, pretend to ride it. or if
Yeah.
you're like one of those cosplayer people, you pretend that you're a horse. Um, but in this case, it's an actual horse's skull on the stick, and they like pin or glue like a white sheet to the back of it so that when you're holding the stick, you're like fully hidden because you're like have this sheet covering you.
That's
And then
horrible.
they will like rig it so that you can make the jaw move and like by pulling a string. And so the person and then they do the Krampus thing where they just like go around neighborhoods and terrorize people. Um and so they don't totally terrorize people, but they kind of do. So there's some debate over the meaning of the name Mah-ree Lloyd and its origins. Some it could originate from my new favorite festival, the Feast of the Ass, and it apparently commemorates Mary and Joseph's flight into Egypt.
No, it's not called that.
Yeah, the Feast of the Ass. They
The
didn't cover this
Feast
when you
of
were
the
in
Ass.
Catholic school?
Feast of the Ass. Oh my god, Feast of the Ass. Oh my
Feast of the
god.
Rectum in some circles, but
Feast of the Ass, January 14th. Wow. I like also that Google let me know that Safe Search is blurring things for me in advance.
well, I bet there's a really niche and detailed Pornhub category for Feast of the Ass.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very different from what you're talking about. Probably still animals, but
Ooh.
LW. Okay, YD. I see. Wow. What a spelling.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find this horse thing. Ugh, that's horrible. Oh my god.
I'll put these pictures on our Instagram, guys, so like don't worry or just
That
look
is
them
some
up.
nightmare fuel.
So anyway, the Feast of the Ass apparently marks Mary and Joseph's flight into Egypt, with the idea that the horse head stick represents the donkey that Mary rode on during that escape
Yeah,
from
clearly.
Nazareth.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, duh.
what else would it? Oh god.
I mean, every hobby horse enthusiast I know pretends that they are the Virgin Mary 2 weeks after giving birth to the Son of God. So, that's just standard childhood imagination. So, some believe that Mah-ree Lloyd, was popularized in the Middle Ages to make the holdover from the pre-Christian traditions more palatable, both to the church and kind of like to bridge the gap.
Kind of like Krampus.
Because yeah, because in the Middle Ages, there was still a lot of, um like, I think people accepted that they were being ruled over by Christian ruling class, but, you still have these regional traditions where, you know, like, some people put marshmallows on their sweet potatoes, and that's how they do it. I had never heard of that until I went to college. So, like
What?
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
That's
like, they're
crazy. You never put mashed potatoes on mashed potatoes on sweet potatoes. Marshmallows on sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving?
no. We didn't really usually have sweet potatoes. We would have
That's my
no, I
favorite
don't
food.
I'm sorry, you weren't invited.
Oh my god. That just shook my
But, like, you have some of these, like, regional traditions that people are like, "Well, my family has always done, horsehead parade," and,
my family always has the Feast of the Ass. I don't know what you're talking about.
Um, so there's also some folks who think that the horse represents a death horse, which is why there's the white sheet over it, thinking that it was a pre-Christian ritual marking Samhain, a pagan holiday that occurs around the same time as Halloween on the Gregorian calendar. Um, and others think that this I wrote, others have said this ancient critter was a bringer of fertility. I don't know how.
Not
Um,
possible.
so either you're gonna die, you're pregnant, or you like to parade your ass through the town and get drunk. Um,
I would really like to think that things like this, like Krampus, like it was just some weird guy who started doing it and they just kept doing it. Like I would
I hope.
love that we try and find all this depth of reason for things and they were like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing that we did.
Yeah. I mean, this is strictly in Wales, which is really tiny, unless you spell it with an H, in which case they're very big and dangerous and they take out boats.
And they have
Um,
fingernail teeth. Tune into
Tune in
Patreon if
for
you want that
Patreon.
gross fact, by the way. I can't tell you how many people I've heard from that were all like, ew. I was like, yeah, I know, it's gross. I wish I didn't know about it. But here we are.
I don't mhm. It's just the same stuff that fingernails are made of. It's not like they're actually fingernails. That would be so much worse. That's like salad fingers in your mouth. Sorry.
I don't think you're making the case that you think you're making right now. Oh
So,
God, fertility from a
anyway, the
dead
gray
horse head.
mare goes the gray mare goes house to house. Usually groups of men do it, but I guess now it can be anyone. Um, and would arrive on your doorstep and sing to you and request entry to
How
your house.
inclusive.
The occupant of the house needs to reject the request to come in, but you also have to reject that request in song or like limerick. And you just go back and forth until one of you gives up. And generally speaking, it's kind of like all in good fun. But the homeowner, if the homeowner is the one who gives up, the group gets to come inside and eat all your food and drink all your booze before going to the next house.
So you're telling me this demon horse wants to come in my house?
Yeah. But it's singing songs.
I I think I just prefer Krampus running down the street.
I don't think it's that different, boo.
I don't know if I'm liking this dead horse head
Because, like, by
coming.
the end of it, you got a group of drunk guys
Krampus was
with
trying to
a
break in the
horse
house
skull
and
on a
eat the
stick.
children.
Yeah, like, they're not beating the children with a bundle of sticks. They got that going for them. But also, it's not just the skull holder
And
who
then
gets a
filling them with
costume.
straw.
Right. Only if they've been
Oh, more
misbehaving.
costumes.
Yeah. So,
Impish.
the the group itself consists of 4 to 7 men who often had colored ribbons and rosettes attached to their clothes and sometimes wore a broad sash around the waist. Um there was usually a smartly dressed leader who carried a staff, stick, or whip, and then other stock characters such as the merry men who played music, and then these 2 people named Punch and Judy who were both played by men with blackened faces, often brightly dressed. Punch carried a long metal fire iron, and Judy had a broom called a besom. And there's variations on exactly what the protocol is, but there was one story where the Punch and Judy characters would cause a noise with Punch tapping the ground to the rhythm of the music or like rapping on the door with the fire poker that he's carrying, while Judy would brush the ground, the house walls, and the windows with the broom. And the house owners had to make Punch promise that he would not touch their fireplace before he entered the building. Otherwise, it's a local custom that before he left, he would rake out the fire with his poker and basically put all your ashes like in your living room. And then once inside, the Mah-ree Lloyd, the actual horse, would run around snapping its jaws and neighing, which is where the jaw being attached to a string to make it move would matter. And then now it would chase children and adults. And then the leader of the group pretended to try to restrain the dead horse stick. So similar to Krampus, but this happens after Christmas, not before Christmas.
Closer to the Feast of the Ass.
Closer to the Feast of the Ass. You know, as most holiday traditions really end up being. I al I also found something that, I didn't write it down, but it was basically talking about how in Scotland, this, like, solstice traditions kind of get more celebrated as Hogmanay, which is, like, Scottish New Year's and New
Mhm.
Year's Eve. Um, but I was reading something that said the reason for that, the reason for Hogmanay to be such a huge celebration is because until 1958, Christmas was banned in Scotland. So like it wasn't
Wow.
like Scotland is a Protestant nation. It wasn't banned in the sense that you can't celebrate Christmas, but it wasn't a state holiday. And the reason was that when the Protestant Reformation happened in the 1600s, the Scottish Parliament thought that Christmas was too papist, and so they stopped celebrating it as a government for 350 years, to, like, stick it to the Pope, I guess, and,
They got a long memory.
well, yeah, so does the Pope.
Considering every pope lives to be fucking 400 years old. I mean, Pope John Paul was like the horse head on the stick by the time he
That's
stepped
true.
down.
I know, he was God, it's wild that like, he was the Pope for my whole life. Like, I mean, from the '70s until when did he
Yeah.
die? I gotta look that up.
I want to say it was the last like 15 years.
Yeah. 2005. He was
And
only
there was that.
84. I would have thought
He
he was
looked every
older.
bit of
He was a little
120.
baby pope when he first became pope then. He became the pope in 1978, so
A
when he
little
was
baby
58.
pope. He was just a little baby pope. And when he
New
left,
from
he was at
Precious
least
Moments.
two, 200 years old.
But since then, we've had 2 other
Two
popes, which is
two
just
other popes,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that one
We
didn't
had to
last
change
very
all the
long.
words to the different prayers and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Ratzenberger or whatever. That was brief. Benedict, I think you went by Benedict.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck is Ratzenberger?
He was like Cardinal Ratzenberger, and then like
Maybe, but as pope, he was Benedict the 16th,
that sounds right.
and now we have Pope Francis the First. Can you call yourself a Catholic school graduate?
I was just talking about Catholic school over my Thanksgiving weekend, and I told the story about when we were given a grant, and they decided to buy hand chimes. Our desks were like 50 years old, and we used to have to wash them with shaving cream on the last day of school every year. And they decided to get us hand chimes.
Like the things for the Carol of the Bells song?
I don't know.
They're like always in the mall. Like,
Not bells,
oh,
because that was a discussion. My friend was like, "Do you just mean bells?" And I was like, "No, they weren't bells. They were hand chimes." It was like this like long thing. I had to Google them. And when I Googled them, one of them is like $70. So they're
tell you what,
expensive.
music instrument makers have a racket.
Yeah. $70 for a fucking hand chime. And they bought us a whole bunch of them. And you could only wear white Mickey Mouse gloves practically if you were going to use them. You had to be very careful. Yeah, my friends were like, "Excuse me, what?
How does this thing work?
A hand chime?"
You like shake it? Yeah.
Yeah, you would kinda bang it and then hold it up, and you would touch it to your opposite shoulder to, like, stop the chiming. I remember being, like, 8 or 9 years old when they, like, announced they were like, "We got this grant," and I'm like, "Oh, what are we gonna get?" We had, like, hand-me-down textbooks from the public school that were dated. Like, the school was, like, in rough shape. And what did they tell
Yeah.
us? We're getting fucking hand chimes. I was like, "This is some bullshit."
I think it's the idea that you had to shake it and then touch your opposite shoulder so that you kind of look like you're doing an opposite Hitler salute. Like,
Why not? Why not?
that's weird.
My friends were like, "Wait, on the last day of school, you had to do hard labor to clean the desks?" I was like, "Yeah." We had to wash all the chalkboards and bang all the erasers, and they were like, "Did you go to school in a one-room schoolhouse?"
Yeah, that sounds very Little House on the Prairie or like Anne of Green
I was like,
Gables.
"Oh, no. That was just what we did." But, if we get money, we better buy fucking hand chimes. I will literally be salty about that for my entire life.
I mean, just add it to the list. You get salty about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a
School's broke as
wild.
shit.
Yeah, it's just a strange
Yeah.
priority to have. I don't get it.
Yeah. None. I don't think anybody does.
But I'm definitely getting your kid this children's set for her first birthday. So it's rainbow colored.
Mickey Mouse is on the side. What
She
am I
looks
supposed to
so
do?
mad, you guys.
There's a cartoon of a baby pope. What else am I supposed to get her? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I have on, solstice traditions, but mostly because I fell down a Newgrange rabbit hole and
That's wild.
had
I had
had to
not
turn it
heard of
into
that big
something.
lump.
Mhm. It's
Usually I'm
actually
like,
not the biggest lump in that complex.
it's a really lumpy area.
It's actually what, Fergie was talking about when she asked you about her lady lumps. It was about Newgrange in the Boyne Valley complex.
Usually on the solstice I try and like I'll make like mulled wine or mulled cider and I'll try and like go for a walk. And there's like a handful of things that that are like I don't know, kind of ways to celebrate.
Mhm.
I usually have a lot of candles going. It's like I try and it always just feels like a very kind of grounding type of event to me. I'm always like
That's
rushing
cool.
to get home before the sunset.
I never, like, made a thing out of it, but, I love this time of year because everything is twinkly. So,
Mm-hmm.
plus I get my birthday presents. So,
Yeah.
when I
We
don't
just
spoil
got
them for myself.
have you spoiled a
Oops.
present yet?
I did. I did, because Williams Sonoma was having a sale, so I ordered us a large Dutch oven, and we had been talking about those coupe glasses,
Yeah.
and so I was like, "Oh, I'll just get a set, like, I'll splurge for them, blah, blah, blah." And I, like, come out of the office and I'm telling PK that I ordered it, and I also got another mixing bowl for my stand mixer.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, "Yeah," because my credit card was like, "We noticed some suspicious activity. Did you authorize this charge?" And I was like, "Yes." So he's like, "What did you order? Because I thought you said the thing was on sale, the Dutch oven." And I was like, "Oh, it was, but I also got, like, some coupe glasses." And he was like, "Oh, how much were those?" And I was like, "Oh, like 70 bucks." And he was like, "Ah." And so, like, I went upstairs and I'm, like, doing something else and, because we were gonna go run an errand, and he, like, came upstairs and he was like, "Well, since you wanna ruin your present, why don't you just go ahead and cancel your Williams Sonoma order because" and he had this order of coupe glasses, and he was like, "Took me forever to find them because I couldn't remember what they were called, and, oh, you can just have them for your birthday then." And I was like
Oh, that's
yeah.
nice though that he like that
Yeah.
was like a
He was like, "I wanted to
thoughtful.
show that I listened, and you just ruined it." So now that's our running gag in this
Well,
house
I'm
is
really glad that when I got an ad telling me that they had them on sale somewhere, that I didn't get them because I was like, "Oh, I should get some for Katie," and I forgot.
I'm just drowning
So,
in these cups.
just really glad I didn't get them because I would have been I
I
know
would
you and you would not have been able to just be like, "Oh, thanks. I love them." You would have been like, "Oh shit, now I got 40 coupe glasses."
I would've you would've come over and all of the glasses would be in one of those champagne flute towers on the table because how else am I supposed to use all these cups?
Yes. You'd be like, "Well, now once a week I have to do a champagne tower." So,
I mean, what else am I gonna do? How else am I gonna drink all this champagne? You know?
I love champagne.
It's so good.
I
I'm
could
pretty pumped for mimosas at brunch.
mhm. That'll be good.
Yeah.
This was fun. This was a fun episode.
Good. I was really nervous. I felt like because it didn't really have, like, a single topic, I was worried that it wouldn't sound right.
I mean, I know I had researched it because I was gonna do that instead of Krampus last year, and, um, when I started looking, I think I just got overwhelmed of, like, all the different, like, listicles of, "Oh, this place does this, and this place does this, and this place does this." Um, and something about ADHD, but I just, like, couldn't figure out a good way to narrow it down.
That doesn't sound like this podcast.
Oh, it couldn't be. It couldn't be.
No.
It's a what is it? Wits and witticisms about the low bars of life.
Exploring life's low bars with wit and wisdom.
There we go. That was
Wit
close.
and witticism.
That was funny and funnyisms. It's close enough. I give myself that point.
Good for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Oh
man.
god.
Well,
Great.
I hope everybody has a cozy and grounding solstice, and, make sure you leave us a five-star review, everywhere you can. That includes, like, Google and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We also have that Spotify playlist with all of our hormone episodes on it,
Which we're
so
gonna be adding to.
yeah, so you can subscribe to that playlist and then it'll update, like, when we add a new episode that has that like, fits that topic.
Cool.
Um, and, you can join our Patreon. All Patreon subscribers are still getting ad-free episodes, especially when I remember to post the episodes.
Yeah.
So no matter what tier you are, you're getting ad-free episodes plus some bonus stuff. And by stuff I mean like bonus episodes. Not like
That's most of what it
Ugh,
is.
can you tell I worked all
That's
day?
most of the stuff.
Like, um,
I don't have an excuse.
well, you are sick and you have a baby. So, anyway, in the meantime, uh uh
Tell me what holiday
maybe
burnout looks like.
basically. It's that plus like new job burnout and
Yeah.
yeah, not having medication. That was another thing that I've really been not reveling in, frankly. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you all can get your meds this time of year. And in the meantime, I don't know. Make sure to dress up your horse's head when you feast on your ass.
Because the bar is ankle high. That is so great.